Hello students, how are you? So as everybody knows, we are going to start our second term. So in second term of 6th class syllabus, the first chapter is the Chinese civilization. Let us begin. So first of all, we'll see the extent of this civilization. The Chinese civilization flourished around 1800 BC along the banks of the river Huanghe. Huanghe means yellow river. Huanghe brought rich soil and provided abundant water for cultivation. In the first picture, you can see the extent of Chinese civilization. But unlike other rivers, Huanghe often changed its course after the floods. Whenever the floods are over there in the river Huanghe, after that floods, Huanghe changed its course, which led to the destruction of crops and canals, and people faced so many difficulties. That's why Wanghu is also called as sorrow of China, China ka dukh. From early times, Chinese built dikes and embankments to control floods. In the second and third picture, you can see the dikes and embankments being built by Chinese people to control the water of flood of Huanghe River. So fertile soil, abundant water, a temperate climate, and waterways helped the Chinese civilization to progress and flourish. Now let us see the different Chinese dynasties. So what is dynasty first of all? A family of kings whose parents, grandparents, etc. ruled the country for many years. So there are three main dynasties of China. First one is Shang dynasty, who ruled China from 1600 BCE to 1046 BCE. Then Zhou or Zhou dynasty is over there, who ruled China from 1046 BCE to 256 BCE. Then at last Han dynasty is over there, who ruled China from 25 CE to 220 CE. Now enrich your knowledge, one column is over there. The Huanghe River is the third longest river in Asia and sixth longest river in the world. It is called Yellow River because huge amount of silt, wraith, and sediments turn the water into yellow color. Silt and sediments mean wraith, turn the color of our river into yellow. That's why it's known as Yellow River. Zhou period is known as the classical period of China because during this period the Chinese culture developed to great heights. And one important thing, that during all these dynasties, the basic character of the Chinese society remained the same. Now let us see about the society. So if we'll see the society, at the top, king is over there, followed by noblemen, and at the lowest point, the merchants, craftsmen, farmers, and slaves are over there. In society, people of China always respect their elders and ancestors. They form the clans. Now what are the clans? Clans mean tribe, kabila. A large group of families who often share their same title. Is it clear? So clan means kabila, tribe. So they formed the clans, and family was a sacred unit, pavitra. The head of the family was given the great respect, and always the head of the family is a male person. Women worked within the house only. Now let us see about the religion of the Chinese people. So the Chinese worship the force of nature. Like all other river valley civilization, the Chinese also worship the forces of nature. For example, wind, sun, storm, lightning, earth, etc. The earth is worshipped in the form of earthen mount, Tila. They worshipped a god called Shangti, or the ruler above, which is known as the ruler above. They believed in ancestor worship, Pitra Puja, and from the childhood, the Chinese children were taught to respect the wisdom and achievements of their ancestors. So our Chinese people, like our Indian people, they believed in ancestor worship, Pitra Puja में विश्वास रखते थे. Taoism and Confucianism were two most popular religion and philosophical system founded by Lao Tzu and Confucius respectively. In the picture, first one Confucius over there and the second is Lao Tzu. Let us see about the occupation of Chinese people. So like all other river valley civilization, in China also agriculture was the main occupation of the Chinese people. The Chinese developed a highly organized network of irrigation and increased their agriculture produce. I have shown you about the dikes and embankments what Chinese have built. So what were the main crops being grown over there? Rice, wheat, barley, sorghum, millets, soya beans and tea were the main crops. And the Chinese were the first to produce or to cultivate tea, and the Chinese were first to produce silk from silkworm also. The producing of silk from silkworm is known as sericulture. It forms an important part of the Chinese people tradition, and silkworms were specially reared for this process, and silk was their main or chief item of export also. Now in the picture you can see the life cycle of a silkworm. Eggs are over there, and from eggs larva is over there, then larva will form a cocoon, and then from cocoon silk moth will over there, and again that silk moth after mating it will give the eggs. Now how the Chinese people are producing silk from silkworm? When cocoon is over there, these cocoons are being collected and they are boiled in water. Then thread extraction is over there, then dyeing, then spinning, and then weaving is over there. Is it clear? So this is the process how we are producing silk from a silkworm. So with this, our first part is over. In our next video, we will discuss about script, trade, and other things of Chinese civilization.